Welcome to the FMT 360 training method. I am Dr. Nick, founder of Functional Movement Therapy, and tonight, we're going to give you our 5-step method for taking your life back from back pain and sciatica, even or especially if you think you've tried everything else. Now, because I value your time and I want you to make sure that you get the most out of these trainings, I want you to know if you're in the right place. And you are in the right place if you are done living in pain, if you have tried treatments and shots and medications and goops and all kinds of things, been to different practitioners, but you know that there's got to be more out there for you. This conversation should spark some ideas and maybe talk about the problem in a new, creative, positive, hopeful manner. And what I want you to get out of today is hope. That is the number one thing that I want to share and spread, that there is more out there, especially beyond the normal medical treatments that are really often prescribed for patients. And I'm going to show you in the next 45 minutes exactly how we do things here at Functional Movement Therapy, how we've been so successful with our clients, and how we get them to returning not only to okay or good enough, but really back to an active lifestyle. We want people and have people back to running, lifting weights, exercising, lifting with their families, babies, grandbabies. Those are so important. People want to go hiking, backpacking, running marathons. We get them doing that. So okay isn't good enough. That's not the type of life that we want you to live. That's not the type of life that our clients live. And so I want you to see exactly how we do that. It's also going to stop you from scheduling just an enormous amount of appointments or piecing together treatments or wondering if you need more imaging or worrying about this, that, and the other, and just how to survive the next flare-up. Most of all, let's get out of the pain cycle. You guys know what the pain cycle is. You've been here for a little bit. What I know that the pain cycle is that we do okay, and then we don't, and then we do okay, and then we don't. But more so, it stops you from living your best life and stops you from living your purpose. And our purpose is to help you live out your purpose. I really fundamentally believe that that is what I was put on this planet to do. And so I want to help as many of you as I can. And I have this audacious goal this year that we want to help 1,000 people recover from back pain, sciatica, and various injuries without shot surgery or medication, without any of the normal pharmaceutical stuff, saving them time, money, and pain. So my promise to you is this hour is not going to go to waste. We're going to tell you about our most common secrets. I want to answer your questions. This is what we do on a daily basis, and show you how to resolve injury, how to get away from all those limitations. And sometimes the limitations, we were just talking about this before the call, the limitation can be our lack of confidence in ourselves. Maybe it's a lack of belief that you can heal. Maybe it's more. Maybe it's other people telling you that you just got to get used to living like this. And I want to tell you, my friends, that that's not the way it needs to be. That's not what I would suggest at all. That's not what our clients have seen or felt as they've gone through their own journeys. So stick with us for just a few minutes. It's going to be well worth it. Most people, as I said, they think they need to go to an MRI, a scan, an X-ray, see what's going on with the spine. Then they're going to be prescribed medicine. And then the doctor's going to say a couple things. He's going to say, you need to lose some weight. B, you're not old enough for that. Strengthen your core, and everything will be just fine. Strengthening your core, that's a funny one. What does that even mean anymore? It's thrown around so much. It's just like one of these candy terms that just sounds like the right answer, and yet we're not teaching it well. And exercise doesn't mean that it's going to translate to function. And we're going to dive into that much, much more in this conversation, because strengthening your core, it's not enough. It's not enough. And I'm sorry, I wish it were easier, but you've got to know what you're strengthening and how to strengthen and how that's going to apply. But a strong vision and belief in yourself and a plan and the support and the accountability and the education and the community, now that's a winning combination. So when it comes to resolving your back pain, you guys that are here, that are showing up, you do the work. I know you do the work. I know you want to do the work. Even if you've stayed with me for 5 minutes now, you're somebody who is looking for it, somebody who gets it, somebody who knows that they need that help, that support, that they need a system to work off of. And so they can start to judge the metrics of what progress is. They can start to feel the metrics, and it's going to be different than the PT or chiropractor or masseuse or acupuncturist that they tried before, because you're going to have all kinds of support. You're going to be able to wake up without pain, or stop having to ask loved ones for help, because guess what? You can lift that box off the ground. Isn't that going to be cool? But you can heal. You have everything that you need to heal right now. Your body was meant to heal. And this is how I know it. You've healed from everything else along the way, haven't you? You healed from the broken bone. You healed from the ankle sprain. You healed from, there's a lot of things our body does that where we kind of break down, aren't there? There's a lot of things. But in this conversation, I want you to really, really turn off the distractions, break out a pen and paper, write down what resonates with you, write down your questions. And this is an ongoing conversation, my friends. I want you to be a full part of it, because you're going to find out how important being an active participant in your own healing is. We're going to start to implement these things soon so that you can wake up without pain, improve your standing tolerance, walking tolerance, enjoy time with family, and do all the things that you love to do right from day one. So you're going to take these actionable steps with you. And I want you to go ahead, and the first thing you're going to write down right now is, if you could do one thing better, one thing pain-free, what would that one thing be? So think about that for a moment. I'm just going to give you a second to jot that down. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? Is it something big? Is it something small? Is it, or seemingly small, that would make a huge difference? What is it for you? Introduce myself really quickly. I'm Dr. Nick. I'm a physical therapist by trade, founder of functional movement therapy, back pain specialist, and back pain sufferer. I say back pain sufferer because I have been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I know what you guys are going through, and it hurts. When I herniated my disc, I was 24 years old. I'll tell you real quickly, I was in a soccer game and I took a shot, and boom, I knew that instance that something had gone wrong. And so I had to go through all this process that you guys have gone to. Went to the PCP, went to the orthopedic, got the imaging done, took the medication, tried to manage life all during that, paid the copays, got no answers. And luckily, I worked at a PT clinic all while doing this, still trying to piece together the answers, but I never really understand my injury. And it frustrated me, you guys. I was so frustrated that I would go into a specialist, but got very generic, very vanilla answers. And I'm not sure to this day whether it's they thought the answer was too above me, maybe because I was a young kid, or maybe that's just the answer that they are used to giving. So they gave it to me, for the 1,000th time of their career, but it didn't help me to move forward. The idea of resting, icing, take the medication, you should be good in 6 to 8 weeks. It didn't help me to understand why it had happened. I was 24 years old, so I was young. I was fit, so I wasn't overweight. I was active. I wasn't sedentary. Those are the big things that we think that back pain comes from. And so if I don't go into those, fit into those nice little boxes, then what was it that caused the injury? And I'm one to think that that's just not bad luck, that it's something I was doing. And I'll be very honest about what I have found over the years. It's my lack of ankle and hip mobility. It was the stiffness of my thoracic spine. I wasn't mobile enough to be moving the weights that I was as a personal trainer, trying to bulk up. And then I went and stretched my muscles in a soccer game, beyond their limitation and capability. So my lower back twisted and rotated. There's the injury right there. Because I hear a lot of people say that I've tried everything, or my doctor said, I'm going to try this treatment. Like I said, that's exactly what I thought as well. By trying everything, what they really mean is these things like TINS or cupping or muscle energy works or acupuncture, they all have a very, very common theme about them. A passive treatment. Passive treatments, you guys, if you don't know what a passive treatment is, a passive treatment, something done to you. You sit there, hands back, and just relax, and they're working on my back. They worked on my legs. And this is a standard physical therapy treatment, right? We walk into the physical therapy office, we sign in, we hop on the bike, or we get a hot pack thrown on us, and then they work on my back a little bit, and then I'll do 5 minutes of some exercise that I've already done 8 times, and they've already told me to do at home. And then they say, okay, how do you feel? And you say, okay, a little bit better, because you're trying to be nice. And then you walk out the door. Here's my one new thing that I'm going to add. Cool. And then we'll see you later. And that's how much progress I get. The bike doesn't translate to the way you move during the day. The passive treatment you can't take with you. You need it there, right? And then you already got to do the exercises you're already doing at home. The passive treatments, how much of that did you grow? How much of that time was used for growth? But movement is so powerful, you guys. It has the power to heal your symptoms. It also has the power to piss off those symptoms, doesn't it? But who controls that? You control it. So we take an active approach. And that's not just my wonderful brain and idea. That's also what all the current research is going towards. You see, all these passive treatments always work best in conjunction with actual movement training and education. Always. And it's a no-brainer, right? Like, why? Oh, shocker, right? Yes, science is that slow. We have to prove it time and time and time again. But there's lots of research to talk about that. How much can we be supported emotionally? How much can we be supported physically? How much can we learn and understand and adapt and grow? And that's where this thing needs to take on a life of its own, so that you can understand, oh, that's where I was moving differently. That feels different, right? When you learn to ride a bike, could you have ever ridden a bike if somebody just told you how to ride that bike? Or how successful would you have been if somebody gave you a bike and said, here, good luck? How long is that going to take? That's going to hurt a lot. We're going to have a lot of scraped knees and elbows there, aren't we? Along the way of this thing, it helps when you say, have somebody kind of giving you some momentum to push you through, so that you can start coasting and pedaling and turning those pedals, right? Maybe to catch you once or twice before you fall. It's big to have a coach. It's really, really big to have a coach who knows what's going on and can help to guide you along the way, so you can feel it and then live it as you're going through your, everything that we do during the day. Our whole mission is to help those who suffer with back pain, sciatica, take back their life from injury, so they can live their best life to the fullest and live out their purpose in life to the fullest, right? That's how we spread forward hope and joy and just wonderfulness. And I want you guys to just take an amazing experience from this always. So whatever I can do along the way, or for you or anyone in your network, simply reach out. The FMT training method is this. It is the PNC approach, which stands for principles and categories. I want you to know the principles of movement and the categories of back pain that are so common, right? The FMT method, as you are starting to uncover and learn, is a little different than normal physical therapy or normal medicine practice, because we give you all the answers. And one of those answers is how not to flare up, how to keep those pain levels low. And you can imagine, right? If we are using that little scale, that 0 to 10 scale that everybody hates, and your pain levels start to get lower, we know we're trending in the right direction. We know we can do more. That doesn't feel too bad. Hey, I'm a little confident that I can do that thing. When you build confidence with strength and low pain levels, that's a good day. That's a really good day, right? We want to let's celebrate that. Let's get after that. And you know that, imagine if you took yourself from a 6, 7, or 8 and you got down to a 1, right? How close is 0 at that point? Yeah, Devin says that's an amazing day. So that's what we're going to guide you through to. Confidence, let's break those shackles. Let's break those chains. Let's do it. Let's do the things, guys. So your categories are these 6. Most people will be a combination of these 6, but there's posture, there's movement dysfunction, there's neural, there's breathing, and there's instability there. And they all kind of start to play into each other. Posture is probably exactly what you think. It's the way that we align our body and our spine against gravity. That's your job. You got to beat gravity. A movement dysfunction means that we are having trouble controlling a certain aspect of our body. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that for now because there's a lot to get into all of these. Neural, if we have herniated that disc, we may have some extra neural tension, or we still may be experiencing neural symptoms. And those things can follow the typical sciatica pathway. Sciatica nerve splits at the back of the knee to go straight down the calf, or come on the outside of the shin, and then it'll take on the different parts of the heel and the foot. So let me know kind of where your pain is running if that's something that's bothering you. Breathing dysfunction is actually the most common denominator of back pain. How many of you would have guessed that? And instability, this is where the core comes in. We've got to know how to stabilize so that we can take on those pressures of life. And the principles of back pain, knowing your what and your why. Guys, if I could just give you that, I think so many people, I think that would be just a huge platform for people to be able to say, okay, I know my what is what's causing the symptoms. Why is it happening? Once you do that, then how is to resolve those two things, right? How do I overcome that? Let's take that, let's break that down into its components, and let's go. Let's put together that recovery plan, right? It just makes sense. So we're going to find that first we need to control our bodies, our movement patterns, our posture, control our neural tension even, right? All those categories that we just described, now we're going to control. And now we're going to build endurance, and then you're going to build strength. And a question I get asked often is, why do I build endurance before strength? Let me tell you, you're going to build endurance before strength because most of the daily activities that you do don't require strength. They don't. Doing the dishes doesn't require a whole lot of strength. Doing laundry doesn't require a whole lot of strength. Walking the dog doesn't require a whole lot of strength, right? Making breakfast doesn't require strength or any of that. It requires endurance, though. You better be able to manage 24 hours or 18 hours of being awake and alive and moving without having to take constant rest breaks, right? That makes sense. You need to be able to endure life. And then we can train for the couple times, during the week, really, for most people, that you need to be strong. But Arthur hates strength. So we're gonna build some strength too. So we're not gonna have that as an excuse either for pain or immobility or any of that stuff. Quality matters. You got to know what your prime mover is. You got to have a winning mindset. And this, again, is where coaching just takes on a new life of its own. And if you don't have all of that, we're just throwing darts. We're throwing darts. We're seeing what sticks. Currently in healthcare, we try to classify everybody by the location of their pain and the duration of their pain. So central pain syndrome, we're having pain there in the center. Acute is it just happened. Chronic, it's been there for a long time. You guys can see it's time and its location, right? But you're not a diagnosis, and you already know the time and location. So why do you need to go pay somebody to give to you what you already know that doesn't help you to move forward again and understand your why? So when we're jumping into sourcing pain and understanding pain, pain's so funny because you have to understand what pain is. And pain is your body's awareness that something is a threat, right? Even if you know you're not going to hurt yourself. So say I took my finger and I bent it back a bit. My finger's perfectly fine, but if I bent that finger back a bit, I get stretch first, right? I get movement, I can feel movement, okay. I get to stretch, okay, I can feel stretch. Ooh, I go a little further now. I don't like that anymore. Suddenly that becomes painful. Is it actually painful? As soon as I let off of that, it doesn't hurt anymore, but is it painful or is it threatening? Pain is a threat response initially. And so to decrease our level of threat, AKA our ability to know that we can move and our confidence in movement, those two things really align. And by doing these movements in a non-threatening way, that's why we always say no pain, all gain. We can start to move a bit easier, a bit smoother, a bit more symmetrically, and beautiful things happen there. So if you have been somebody who has taken on that idea of, I've just got to push through, I've just got to push through, I've just got to push through, what you're actually doing is sensitizing your body to perceive pain quicker. Let me say that again. If I push through, I push through, I push through, and it hurts and it hurts and it hurts, what I'm telling myself is that movement hurts. So if I just yank on the finger again and again and again, it's actually going to take me less movement to produce a response of pain. Does that make sense, you guys? Or does anybody have questions on that? As I mentioned before, you're going to fall into probably a couple of these 6 categories of back pain. And so instead of treating a diagnosis, that doesn't give us much information. We are going to treat people because we like people. We like you guys. It's fun to treat people. It's fun to see people smile. It's fun to see people succeed. That's what we got in this business for. So let's keep doing that because that's what we're really good at. And instead of listening to others, instead of trying to go through the next Instagram post or Facebook post or, I don't know, Joe Schmo from out there in the internet world say to buy this product and then feeling bad about everything because it didn't work here. Let's work through with somebody who has your best interest in mind, who you trust, and who has the education and the results to back up getting you through, okay? So I want you to meet one of my favorite clients, Carla. Carla is an amazing human. She went through a journey much like you all's, much like you all's. If you guys have seen back pain, hip pain, IT band syndrome, hip bursitis, she worked with all kinds of professionals. But when we started looking at her triggers, right, the how and the why, then we started to understand what's really going on with her injuries. It's mechanical. It's a mechanical injury, and that's what we're really good. Carla is so special to me because Carla is a runner, as you can tell, right? Carla right there just finished the Philadelphia Marathon. She ran 26.2 miles at 55 years old after sciatica and after all of those diagnoses up there. Carla is also training for the New York City Marathon as her next one. But before working with FMT, Carla was an injury-prone runner. Carla could go more than a few months without an injury, and then it took the PT, the shots, the running coach, the orthopedist, the massage therapist, the Pilates classes. I mean, she would do anything anybody told her to get to her goals. And that's where you guys are as well, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are those motivated individuals who know they need to get it. They need to get after it. They need to have that pain-free life, just have that quality of life back. So Carla and I joined forces, and she's been a beast ever since. She is just doing amazing, and I'm so proud to be working with her and part of her success story. And that's what we do. We change the mindset, we get the plan, and when we get the plan and implement these new strategies, we get new results. With the education, you're gonna understand what you're doing. I think it's so vital to understand the why. Why am I doing this, and how does it apply to my everyday life, and then how does it move me forward to my goals? Do you get that at your current doctor's appointments? Do you get that at your PT or chiro? Do you get the why and understand how it's going to affect the way you live, how it's going to move you towards your goals, and what it feels like to do it right versus wrong? Do they take the time to go through all that with you? That's education. That's one-on-one care. That's treating people. Here's some warning signs that you'll know that you're in the wrong program, okay? When things just don't make sense. I call it the sniff test. Is that really what I'm doing today? Is that okay? I'll do it because he said so, but I don't really get it. I don't really know. So many of us are nice. We're going in. These guys got white coats on, or they're the doctor. I'm not the doctor, so I'm following them. I'm trusting them. But if I'm looking at it, I don't get it, or I don't feel like I'm ready for that, or I feel like I'm way over to this. There's that discrepancy. I worked in clinics across the country, and not all practitioners are good at judging where people are. Not all practitioners have the time or just take the time to talk you through things. Not all practitioners have a really great plan. They know what our average 6 to 8 week back pain program looks like, but the nuances in there, they're more of a generalist, I would say. They've got the doctorate of physical therapy or doctorate of chiropractics. And that's their big thing, is then they treat everybody head to toe, from the infants to grandma and grandpa, and see all the injuries in between. So a middle-aged back pain person is just that. It's just another case. It's just my 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock slot. And while physical therapy or orthopedics or chiropractics, those are all specialists under your insurance, when they treat everything, are they really a specialist? Or did they, I don't want to take anything away from the degree, because I've got a few of them over here myself, but I'll tell you, it took more for me to be comfortable with calling myself a specialist than to just get these degrees. It's all the in between. It's really focusing on what you guys need as sufferers, as people, to move forward from this. And that's a lot of the nitty gritty stuff. That's a lot of the, oh, I see that little thing. This is the cue you need. And tell me if I'm wrong here, but that's where you can move forward light years in a session, because that little thing adds up to the next thing and adds up to the next thing. So I want you guys to know and feel like you were heard, feel like you were confident that somebody is listening to you and will make changes and tweaks to your program along the way as you go through, as you grow together, right? It's a team effort. It really, really is. I find that my best clients know how to work as a team, and I love that when that happens. We actually want to be there for you and have a flexible schedule. I understand you can't work out 24/7. None of us are professional athletes. We're just humans trying to get better. And so we'll respond to your questions quickly. I'll have that digital support. We've actually got a beautiful community here. All these things go straight to your phone or your laptop and make it super easy to get in, get seen, get the support and accountability. It's all built in. So it's pretty stinking cool. I like it. Katie likes it. I think Devin likes it. Medicine these days wants you to get back to 100%, or really insurance. And medicine wants you to get back to 100%. Insurance wants you to get back to about 80%. We think, functional movement therapy thinks, that 100% is most often where we got injured. You weren't injured before, you lifted something up, you twisted, you turned, you picked up the pen, whatever it was, that thing, for me, kicking the soccer ball, I would say that I was at 100%. I just bench pressed twice my body weight and squatted twice my body weight a week before. How do I go from that to this? There were all kinds of warning signs in between that I just couldn't pick up on, didn't have the knowledge to know. So while insurance wants to get you to 80, medicine wants to get you 100. If 100% is where you got injured, then is 100% really good enough to get back to? No, because we can't have this happening again and again. So one of your anti-flare-up strategies is to become the best version of yourself, to know it, feel it, live it, right? That's what we want for you guys. And that's where we want to help you. Just go light years beyond this stuff to really understanding how to control your body, how to put your functional movements first, how to test and retest yourself. I think that's super important. If I would have had a testing methodology to go through and check myself, then hey, okay, I know my ankles need a little bit more strength or need a little bit more mobility, or these hips of mine are just not working for a game that I love to play and is really causing me to move in 3 dimensions. I'm going to pull something or strain something, and guess what? I did. But the two most common barriers to a successful recovery that I've seen over time is lack of time and a lack of understanding. And whether we get scared because of our lack of understanding, we're not sure how to progress, we stay at the same exercises, same things, your body knows how to plateau really, really quickly, guys. It is meant, and you were created to save energy. Katie knows about this one. She preaches it all day long. If you guys don't know Katie Lane, I want to introduce you to her and the group. The pain cycle on mental health is just so important. and so underspoken about, even in this day and age where we're talking about mental health often. Go ahead and connect with Katie Lane on social media. It's at Healing with Katie Lane on Instagram. We'll drop her information in the show notes too, guys. She gives 1,000% every single day in helping her clients heal from mental struggles of back pain and chronic pain. And this gal is just, she brings it. She brings truth and gets down to the nitty gritty with you so that you can have the resources you need in the space you need to heal. So let's get rid of those negative emotions. Let's get rid of the negative stories that we're telling ourselves, right? Katie knows that stuff. And we want to make sure that you have the support and the space to move forward. Brittany is another fantastic client of mine, guys. She had two failed surgeries that left her piecing together appointments, left her unable to pick up her little ones. She makes some cute kids, doesn't she? And she was just going back and forth and back and forth. Thought that FMT might have been the answer. I'm not ready to start yet. Okay, I'm going to finish out PT. Still not getting there. She took the leap. She took the jump, and I'm so grateful for her for doing that. And in her 90-day program, we were able to get rid of her PT appointments, her gym membership, her chiropractor, her massage therapist, and giving her back all that time and getting her to the results that she wanted, which was a pain-free life, back to cycling, back to lifting weights, back to working full-time, back to mothering and being that mother that she knew that she is and wanted to be. It's pretty cool to see that transformation in such a short amount of time. After 2 failed back surgeries, you guys, it's just an amazing process. Knowing how to avoid flare-up starts with knowing what flares you up. It's a very simple concept. If you know what flares you up, go ahead and throw it in the chat box here, and let's see if some of our flare-ups really happen because of the same thing. What's so big about posture? We hear. You're welcome, Devin. We hear posture is important. Mama told me posture is important, but why is it so important? It does one thing for us, guys. Posture does one thing. That's all we're doing with it. And we're trying to beat gravity, okay? When you align yourself against gravity, we have to stand up, we have to move about, but you gotta be in alignment, or else one of the things chiropractors try to do, that, and this kind of drives me crazy, so I'm just gonna jump on my soapbox here, is they will realign you, right? I'm gonna get snap cracked. I take an x-ray. Oh, this thing's out of alignment, this thing's out of alignment, that's got to be causing your pain. So I'm gonna pop you, and people think the common knowledge is that puts me back into alignment. When you are manipulated, that does not put you back into alignment, my friends. What that does is it releases pressure from the joint capsule. Within all of your joints, right, whether it's my knuckles, think about your knuckles. If I pop my knuckles, I took them to end range flexion. Actually, my knuckle just popped there. How funny. I take them to end range motion, and I give it a little bit of pressure, right? Which is what all of your manipulations of the chiropractor look like. If I take my joint to the end range, so I can extend those fingers, or I can flex the fingers. If I take it to end range, alignment is in the middle somewhere. How come those things don't manipulate or pop when they're in the middle? Weird, right? We actually take it to end range, and then we give pressure, and we give it a quick pressure so that we release pressure from the joint capsule, and then it feels a little looser. All I did was release some pressure. Do I actually need to alleviate pressure at end range, or do I need to move a little smoother so that those pressures don't build again? And it goes back to what I was saying earlier. When you use your body as the proper tool that it is, I use my fingers for jobs the fingers are supposed to do. I use my elbow for jobs that the elbow is supposed to do, right? I wouldn't sit on my chair here and put my fingers down on the tips of my fingers and try to hold my body up. I wouldn't be comfortable. I get little bruises there or something. Everybody knows that'd be uncomfortable. So I use my elbow and my forearm, right? When we use our body as the tools that they are, and the correct tool, then you don't get the pressure, you don't get the buildup, you don't get the breakdown, you don't get that sensitizing to pain like we were speaking about, right? It's so important. So can you actually be manipulated back into alignment if you're being manipulated at end range of this way or that way? It doesn't pass the sniff test. For me, it doesn't. And that's what a manipulation is and does. So we're going to play here with movement a little bit, because I really like to play with movement. I think it's fascinating. And what I want you guys to do is to go ahead, if you have a little space, go ahead and stand up. And what we're going to do is we're going to pretend like we're in the grocery store. And you've got your cart in front of you. What kind of things do you have? Do you have a lot of green in there? Do you have whole grains? And do you have perfect things? Who got the Reese's at the checkout? Who like constantly has to get that one thing of candy? Or what's your grocery of choice? What's your little snack? It's okay, you can admit it. Anyways, all I'm trying to do is get your mind off posture, really. I'm cheating here. Go ahead and look at your feet now. Yeah, I know, I'm cheating. I do that. Go ahead and look at your feet. And I want you to see, are your feet symmetrical? Are they straight ahead? Or do you have one foot out to the side, the other foot out to the side? What's going on there at the feet? Do you have equal weight in both legs? Are your knees locked or unlocked? Do your feet pronate or supinate, right? Where do you bear weight? Do you feel tension in the fronts of your thighs, your hips, or your lower back? Do you feel tension in your neck or your shoulders? What we're doing here as we're looking at postures, we're starting from the floor and we're working our way up. As we do that, do you notice as you're concentrating, do you stop breathing? Dang. So what we did right there is we just looked at two of the different categories of back pain in a very simple test. And if you're not aligned to beat gravity and doing that job well, is that going to affect the amount of pressure that your joints and spine take on you? Is that going to affect the endurance that you have during the day? Is that going to affect your rate of healing? The answer, I think that most of us can agree, is yes, right? So we're looking for symmetry. We're looking for what I call lines of symmetry. We're looking for postural control. That goes into stability, or that, weeding out the instability that might be there and starting to move a bit more symmetric, right? It's very simple but practical exercises. And I hope you guys are starting to understand the problem a bit differently. Now we can start asking better questions, and we haven't done a single exercise. That's a cool part. So how many of these things can you start to do today, now, and changing the way that you are perceiving pain or thinking about pain? And if we do that, do we start, again, putting the plan together to move forward from this stuff? So we want you to move completely. I don't want you to be a stiff, rigid brick. I want you to be able to be free in your own body and know that your body is going to do the task that you ask it to. Have fun. Have fun with it. Live life. Explore movement. That's good stuff. When you start to move freely, now your spine and your joints stop absorbing the force. So, for instance, when we were standing, how many of us noticed that our knees were locked? And if not, go back and do it again. Go ahead and lock your knees. Let's do it incorrectly. Locking your knees, what it does is, you're putting more pressure into the joint. Now my joint is taking all the pressure there as my knees lock back. You can feel that, okay? Now, one of the tests for the meniscus of the knee is if I lock the knee and then turn and twist. That's a way to grind down cartilage. You don't have to do that. It's okay. You don't have to. It's not great. It's again, that's the wrong answer. Don't do that. But when we do that, now we're twisting on the bones, and it's bone on bone. And if I want to break things down, or muddle some, I don't know, mint or avocado for guacamole. Why am I so hungry right now? It's we're going to grind, right? We're going to push into that. So unlocking the knees not only takes pressure off the knees, though, and off the cartilage, and let your muscles do the work, let your hips rotate, but it also immediately takes pressure off your lower back. And I wonder if you guys noticed that when you're standing and you unlock the knees, how it affected that other part of your body. it does some really cool things when we make some really simple changes. They can have really long-lasting effects on our heel. We talked a little bit earlier about direction of preference versus, and we haven't brought up this term, but direction of intolerance. And direction of intolerance, if you guys who are dealing with radiculopathy, lumbar radiculopathy is the big term for sciatica. I just like it because it has 18 syllables, and that's where I like to speak. But sciatica is, you know, what will move that pain? Basically, sciatica, we want to think about it like this, to break it down much more simple. Anything that sends the pain up towards the back, good. Green light, go. That's why I made this slide green. Anything that sends the pain down, bad. Red light, don't do it, stop. Now we're going to use our pain journal and go ahead and write those things down, right? You're going to have that direction of preference. You're going to have that direction of intolerance. What feels good, what feels bad, what moves that pain north. We always want to be going north because that is the phenomenon of centralization. And it's so, so important. Dr. Robert McKenzie gave us that on accident by actually, but he took really good notes. So we're going to give him a lot of credit. And actually it wasn't McKenzie, it was actually his assistant who put a gentleman in a wrong position on the table. He freaked out because it was against everything that they had thought they knew about sciatica. The guy gets up off the table, said, "That was amazing. I feel so much better." And he goes, "What in the world just happened?" And that's science in a nutshell. And so we started exploring it. So you guys who have done the McKenzie method, that's how it all started, by accident. Duration, we talked about it. What's our endurance for your static positions versus your dynamic positions? Jot these down: standing, sitting, sleeping, walking, working, daily tasks. Write them down. Notice what your endurance does, and let's see if in 2 to 4 weeks if that has changed by implementing the other strategies. It's going to be big. It's going to be big. Seeing progress is always motivational. So when we start to control, we talked about how control and quality matters, how control is our big first step before endurance, and then comes strength, right? You can see how standing, walking, sitting, driving, none of those take true strength, not any more than you have already, really, if we look at it, but just being able to do it better. So that's where we want to get to first. That is your lowest hanging fruit. And that's also where you'll have some of the best results, just to start moving in the right direction. So when you get this right, though, you get to take ownership. You get to know that you're moving forward. You get a bit of confidence and drop some of the fear off your plate. Let's do some of that. Let's start talking positively about where we're going with this journey. I love it. Let's see some smiles happening, guys. So Katie, I want to share this this video with you guys. I love this one. Tell me if you can hear it. Yeah. Katie's injury is, wow. If you can see that herniation under 2015 there, it's a big one. And she came from this. She came from you can see that she can't put her heel down because it hurts so bad, to walking evenly. You see the symmetry in her steps. You see her being able to move and start to understand. Look how focused she is during her exercises there. Okay, I've got to get my core set. I've got to get my neutral spine. I'm not shifting and leaning. Just doing the exercise isn't enough. You've got to train those muscles to start firing in sequence. And it's so important, so vital. We're not even going to, Katie saw more than a handful of PTs, more than a handful of doctors. We won't even talk about the epidurals and cortisone shots. There's more than a handful there as well. But she's living proof that quality matters, right? Quality movements are going to be what takes you through to the next step. That's the only way that she was able to go from those exercises to running again and walking again. And now what are you doing, like 2 to 4 or 5 miles a day during your walking program? It's crazy. It's crazy. It's fantastic. So super proud of you, gal. Way to go. Stop a video. I really believe, I fully believe that that's what a personal recovery training program can do for you. And so, funny story, what I thought that this business was going to be was an app. How cool would it be if you came to a PT and you had an app and you just got answers on demand, and that's all that people would want or need? And I found out that I was wrong pretty early on. I found out that people need the support, they need the training, we need to hear it more than once, right? And we need to know how it applies, and we need that community. These are the needs that I heard from people time and time again as I listened to them and took the time to listen to them. And so we created it, because this stuff doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen as a physical therapist in a clinic because you don't have the time for it or the bandwidth for it. So we made the bandwidth for you. Yeah, this was created for you. That's exactly who this was created for. So I hope that speaks to you, because we care, and that's why we do what we do. So you have to ask yourself, if I'm on this path, and a lot of people they're like staying steady at a level, but if I stay on the path that I'm on, if I'm doing the things, if I'm staying consistent, if this is where I'm at, will I get to my goals, or will I be better, at least, right, in the next 6 to 12 months? Where is my long-term outcome? Can you look at your magic 8-ball and see where you'll be? And if you're not to where you want to be, or not happy with your progress, not moving in the right direction, is this something a program that you would think about, consider? Something that's science-backed, but more importantly, like just personal and personalized. And we have a track record of success. And we're going to look at you as a person. And we're not going to skimp on your 15-minute session because I have another person and I have to eat lunch and I'm just being jam-packed with patients. Or you're seeing a physical therapist, and then you're seeing an aide, and then you're seeing who knows in between, and you're jumping in between stuff. What if it's something that actually worked, and worked with you, and worked with your life? Like, is that something that you would consider? Getting back to your life is all that matters. It's a family-owned company. We know that, and we love it when our clients come in with their families, because we know that those goals just mean so much, right? I want you to meet Charlie. I want you to meet our beautiful wife, Amber. I want you to be part of our family and come in and join us. And so we can celebrate the wins together. Recovery is not easy. I had some hiccups along the way. I still work on my mobility to these days so that I don't re-injure. I still work on my strength. And I think that everybody needs an active lifestyle, right? Active approach, active lifestyle. They seem to go kind of hand in hand, don't they? So I'm wondering if Hillary is going to resonate with you. Hillary was newly married. They're talking about kids. That she just graduated, become a CPA. She is awesome. I love that smile. And then boom, she bent down to pick up a flower pot, of all things, and that just crushed her. And then 3 PTs later, chiropractic, surgery. She was still in pain after her surgery again. And many doctors will say, oh, the surgery is going to fix it. The surgery is going to fix it. A laminectomy, discectomy, guys. I want to show you something here. Laminectomy, discectomy is a very, very common surgery. And what happens in that is we come through the back here. These are your lumbar vertebrae, your lumbar disc, right? And then the vertebrae come into each other there. And right through this gap, there is the spinal foramen. That's where the spinal cord comes in. And then the nerves come right out here on the side. So when we get a disc herniation, what happens, the outside of the disc is called the annulus. And that's more of a fibrous tissue. They actually have cross links. So they're cross hatched like this, the fibers of the disc, the annular disc. And so what that does, the way to break that down is to bend, twist, and rotate, and do that consistently from the lower back, right? Many of us will flex and twist often in our movement patterns just because they're habit, again. But when that disc bulges out here, it'll go typically straight back or posterolateral, so back into the side. And so our common surgery for that is a laminectomy, discectomy. What that means is we cut through the soft tissue, the fascia, the bone here. We cut through this chunk of the bone to get to the disc, to cut out that part of the nucleus. The nucleus is the inside of the disc that has bulged out of the annulus. Cut through that, cut both of those segments of the disc out, take all that away, throw it away, and that will decompress the nerve, typically from the nerve root. One, we've created a whole lot of trauma, right? You just took out bone, disc, soft tissue, fascia. There's a lot of stuff going on back there, lots of little peripheral nerves in that. That's a scary surgery. I don't want it. But it also doesn't resolve the distal neural symptoms, and it doesn't resolve the movement pattern that got us there, right? So it's a big thing to know, and to know what's being suggested, and to know that you've exhausted all options before going into it. Hillary basically says here that it's so important to be able to regain your confidence in movement, to regain your confidence in your life, and to be able to live like you don't have an injury. That's what I mean by being 120, 150% recovered, is that when you are recovered, you don't think twice about it. And that's a big place to be. Insurance wants you to get good enough. A specialist is going to recommend what a specialist does. Our medical system is going to be reactive to the problem. So it's on us to take the best care of ourselves, right? We know that. It's on us as adults. So let's look at all of you as an entire person. So today I promised you that we're going to show you the step-by-step method of how we get our clients to beat sciatica and back pain. Hopefully one of those things helped you to understand your why. If you found your why in this, go ahead and comment in the chat. Devin says that as well. Devin had, I hope that, is this okay for me to share, Devin, a little bit about your story as well? She says, every time I think of this, I can't believe what I went through. Devin is a client of ours, a current client of ours. She is amazing and went through this laminectomy, discectomy at a very, just such a young age. And so her age, to me, is the tragedy that happened when this wasn't able to be resolved conservatively. That's so important now that we strengthen up that, but not only resolve the symptoms and get her to pain-free, but also just, I mean, I don't want that surgery, her life, to be a statistic. So the 5-step method, again, is the PNC approach. The FMT methods, understanding those flare-up strategies, that personalized training program is what really comes out of all those other three. And then that FMT coaching process. Yes, absolutely. Of course, we're there for you, Devin. Of course. And we want you to regain your confidence and independence. That's the big thing. So you can do cool things like this. If you guys ever get a chance to go to Utah, go to Utah. This is Zion National Park. I believe it's called, it's one of the observation points, but oh my gosh. Literally on the edge of the world right there. It's pretty amazing. So we have literally at this point helped hundreds of people. Like I said, my goal this year is to help 1,000 people. Our clients have been to an average of 6.5 practitioners before working with us and been in pain for an average of 4 years. So it doesn't matter where you are starting from as much as how much you want to get to the goals that you're after. I fully believe that setting up your goals, knowing that you can work as a team, and knowing that you are prioritizing yourself to heal, that's what's going to make or break your results, not the length of time, not the type of injury. So let's get you out of the pain cycle. Let's get you out of going from appointment to appointment or appointment and off the medications and back to waking up, feeling amazing, rolling out of bed and feeling great. So at this point, I mean, there's options. It's hopeful. It's positive. That's what I want to offer you guys, is another idea, another chance, another something that will move you in the right direction. So the choice is yours, though. Will it be taking a chance on something or having at least a conversation about another option and learning even more about it? We want to take even more time with you to talk about whether this program is right for you or not. So here's your connection call link. I'm going to drop it in the description below. But I would love for you guys to go ahead and book your connection call with us and make sure that you get the time that it takes that we get to know you a little bit. And I think that's really important for us to know each other and know that it's going to be a good fit, right? We don't take everyone on. I actually only have 5 slots available for these calls this month and can only take on about 3 of them. So act now. This is really kind of your opportunity to take this on, okay? Only do it though. Only book the call if you're serious about taking back your life from back pain. If you're tired of more images, if you've tried other things even, or you just know that those other things that we talked about already are not the options for you. Because, I mean, honestly, I don't touch anyone. I don't touch any of my patients. We're not there. It's 100% digital. So I can't be the one that's fixing people, right? I haven't actually laid my hands on Katie, haven't laid my hands on Devin, haven't laid my hands on Hillary or Carla or any of them, you know? But they get better. So something's working. And I want to show you that. So if you allow me to support you though, what I will do is walk you through the exact process that we described today. You're going to be held accountable for doing the work. We're going to lay out the exact work that you're going to do. You're going to know what to do it, when to do it, why to do it, how to do it. And by doing that and changing the script, by changing your output, you're going to be changing what's happening. You're going to be growing and you're going to be receiving support, and we're going to be so happy when you succeed. That's what it's all about. I want to shout you out. I want to lift you up. That's what we do. We celebrate those wins. So this is my invitation again for you guys. I would love for you to book a call if this has been insightful, inspiring, hopeful for you. I hope you've gotten a ton out of it. And I really want to thank you for taking the time to listen, to come tonight, to take time out of your week to be here with me. So thank you so much. One of the things that I live by is that an injury isn't just a process of recovery, but it's a process of discovery. It helped me to understand my purpose. It helped me to understand who I am and what I was meant to do. And I really think that my injury was a blessing, if you can say that sciatica is a blessing as much as anybody, because I wouldn't have the same understanding, the same empathy as I do for all of you who I treat and all of you who I serve. So I appreciate you guys, and I want it to be a blessing for you as well to help others also.